James?
It is, yes.
Hello, sir. My name's Jack Gould and I'm one of the doctors in the clinic today. How do you like to be called?
Just call me Jeff, it's fine.
Pleased to meet you, Jeff. Is it alright if I take a few notes as we go?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. What's it that brings you to clinic today, sir?
Well, for the past 6 months, I've been having night sweats. Initially, it was sort of once a week, but now it's becoming nightly. It's become a big major issue. And I'm waking up sweating really badly, so I'm having to change the bed sheets on a daily basis.
Right, okay. So it's been getting worse over 6 months. And how long have you been going with having a nightly period?
Well, it's been nightly now for the past month.
Have you noticed anything else?
And the weight loss. Again, the weight has been quite steady. But again, for the past 6 months now, I'm losing quite a lot of weight, about 6 kilos.
6 kilos over the 6 months?
Yes.
Okay. So they both seem to tie in together.
Yes, absolutely.
You told me about weight loss and night sweats.
The appetite's gone. It's not. Again, I used to eat regular, like 3 times a day, plus snacks in between. But now, it's very rare that I feel hungry. And I feel like my clothes are hanging off now as well. So, I think it's a bit of a problem for me now.
Okay. Is there anything else you noted coming along during the last 6 months?
Cough. I've had a mild cough for a number of years anyway, and sometimes that can come a bit more frequent, but that's probably mostly down to the smoking.
Okay, we'll talk about your smoking later on, if that's alright. So you told me that you've had a 6-month history of reduced appetite, marked weight loss, worsening night sweats. Your cough can come up and down. Is there anything else you've noticed?
Well, I did go to the doctor, the GP, a few months ago as well, and I had a camera. But I had the camera check.
Endoscopy?
That's the one.
Okay.
And we came back with thrush in the gullet.
Okay. And did they give you any treatment for that?
Yes, I did have a short course of medication. Well, that didn't do much from my night sweats, to be fair.
Have you been aware of anything changing?
No.
Did they also do a camera test the other way?
Yes.
The back passage?
Yeah.
Did that
That came back fine.
That came back fine, did it? Okay. Just thinking about your bowels while you're telling me about those camera tests, have you been aware of any change to your bowel habit?
No, they've been fine.
Any blood or mucus?
No blood, no mucus. I mean, I'm obviously not going as regular as I would do because I'm not having the food intake like I normally do. So whereas I'd go daily, it's now probably every couple of days.
Do you feel it's a normal consistency, or are you either constipated or particularly loose?
No, it will be every couple of days. I'm not constipated now.
Okay. Now you mentioned your cough as well, so you said it's been going for a number of years?
God, yeah, it must be. But yeah, I've lost count of the years. Really.
And you say sometimes it gets better and worse, is that right? Do you ever bring anything up with it?
No, there was no phlegm or anything. No.
You mentioned smoking a pipe.
I know it's wrong. So you're going to lecture me now.
I won't lecture you, but obviously you want to advise that,
Of course.
stopping smoking if you can is the best thing for any smoker. That being said, how long have you smoked your pipe for, sir?
A number of years. A long time, probably over 20 years.
And how much tobacco do you reckon you get through?
Not an awful lot now. I think maybe an ounce or something like that. Really. It's not a significant amount.
Would that be per week or per day? Or
Over a couple of days. Yeah.
do you feel you perhaps smoked more heavily in previous years?
Yes, well, I was in the Merchant Navy for a number of years, so I certainly did smoke a lot more in the younger days than what I do now.
Okay. So just to recap everything you've told me so far, obviously you just told me about your smoking history. What's really brought you in today is this 6-month history that things seem to have...
With the night sweats.
Yeah, the night sweats, the weight loss, the reduced appetite. You mentioned that you've been treated for a bit of thrush in the gullet, but that actually that's not changed anything. and that while opening your bowels may be less frequent, there's not been any change. Is there anything else apart from that you've noticed?
I've had a bit of eczema. Well, I've had that for a number of years as well. Sometimes the itchiness can become frequent and then it will sort of die down. But again, it's something I can live with.
Okay. And just thinking a moment about that thrush in the gullet, have you been aware of any difficulty swallowing at all?
Only sometimes when my glands felt enlarged, I'll have trouble swallowing, but then that'll die down.
How long have you been having a bit of difficulty with your glands for?
Years really, I think. It's just something I've never really paid too much attention to. I couldn't really put a figure on how many years I've checked or something. No.
Are they always up, or do they?
No, not all the time.
Do they sometimes like
I think so. But, to be honest, I don't really know. It could have been there 20 years from now. I don't really. It's just mental weight and the body wants to do illnesses and things. So yeah, I'd be lying to you if I said, if it was the same lots of years.
Have you ever been aware of any lumps or bumps anywhere else, like in your armpits or in your groin?
No.
No, but just sometimes in your throat you're aware of it. Is that right? That's right. Okay. I'll just ask you a few extra questions just to make sure there's no other symptoms we're missing out, if that's all right.
Okay.
Have you been aware of any chest pain at all?
No.
Have you been aware of your heart racing or going into a funny rhythm?
No, that's all the time.
Okay. You've told me about having a slight cough, but do you ever feel short of breath?
No, can't say I do.
No, you mentioned to be as active as you would normally.
No more than usual. Yeah, I'm okay.
Now, so you've told me about the camera tests and about your emotions. Have you ever felt you might be nauseous and wanting to be sick?
No, never.
Okay. And have you ever had any episodes of feeling confused?
No, can't.
Or any trouble with your memory? Okay. Any new rashes?
No, nothing more than just the things that I already have.
Right, now, just carrying on from mentioning about your eczema, have you ever had any other past medical history of note?
I had malaria back in the 1960s. Yeah, about 60s.
It's a while back. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Do you take any regular medicines at all?
No, not at all.
Do you have any allergies?
No.
Now, so you've spoken about your smoking. Do you drink much alcohol, sir?
Not socially, nothing excessive at all.
When you say nothing excessive, how often do you think you might be drinking alcohol?
Once or twice a week maybe.
And what sort of volume do you think you drink at that time?
Probably 2 whiskies, that's about it.
Okay, so possibly up to 4 whiskies a week, do you think?
Up max, yeah.
And by a whiskey, do you mean a standard measure?
Just a shot, yeah.
Just a shot. Okay. Have you ever used any illicit drugs?
No.
So cannabis, cocaine, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you were in the Merchant Navy.
Yes, for a number of years. And I travelled a lot to sort of East and West Africa, and the Middle East as well. But then I worked for a shipping company. I was there for a few years until I retired. I think it was last year, yeah, about a year ago.
Okay, so you retired a year ago.
Yes.
Shipping company for 2 years, and then obviously travelling extensively, as you've already mentioned, with the Merchant Navy. So you mentioned East and West Africa up until working at the shipping company.
Correct.
So have you been travelling anywhere in the last 3 years?
I went to Nigeria, was my last trip, just before I retired.
Just before you tried, so while you were with the shipping company to Nigeria. Okay. Just thinking about your travel in Africa, do you know if you've ever had any contact with people who might have had TB?
I've got to know of.
And were you aware of any colleagues either in the Navy or at the shipping company who might have been diagnosed with TB?
No.
you know if you were vaccinated against TB?
I was, I was in school years, definitely.
Oh, okay, that's reassuring. One of the things I do need to ask a few more questions about, if that's okay. It's quite personal, so about your sex life, if that's okay. Particularly thinking back to when you were overseas, were you sexually active overseas?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does that mean numerous partners?
Yes, I think we can safely say multiple partners.
And would you have been using condoms?
Not all the time.
Not all the
That's
time.
all, yeah. Definitely say unprotected sex occasionally.
And over what sort of time period do you think these exposures?
10, 15 years maybe.
Okay, and when would the most recent time have been, do you think?
I've been married now, so yeah, we'd probably say 10, I'd say 10 years to be safe.
Okay, so you think 10 years ago was the last time you...
Thereabouts, yeah.
And was that when you got married?
Yeah,
And since then, have you been monogamous with your wife?
absolutely.
Okay. And have you had just safe sex with her, or no condoms?
No condoms yet.
But you have no reason to think that she's not been monogamous with yourself?
Absolutely not, no.
That's good. And have you been aware of any discharge from your penis or anything like that?
No, none at all.
None at all. Any pain or steam when you urinate?
No.
Okay. And just lastly, sir, is there anything which seems to run in the family at all?
No, there's no.
You have 2 minutes to
medical
make.
problems, as far as I know.
Your parents or your siblings?
No. Can't think of anything if there was or not, no.
Okay. Thank you for telling me all of that. It seems clear that something's been ongoing for the last 6 months, which has been giving you quite a lot of grief and affecting you, especially with the weight loss and pain from the night sweats and to change the bedding every night. Is there anything that you're particularly worried that it might be, sir?
I don't have a clue. But this is, the night sweats are becoming a really major issue now. It's getting me sort of a little bit depressed in a way. So yeah, I just really like to get to the bottom of it, really.
Absolutely, I think it's very understandable. What we will do, sir, is we'll try and get a chest x-ray today, so we can have a look at it, particularly with your cough that's been going on for many years. Depending what that looks like, we may even look forward to trying to do a CT scan or something over the coming weeks. I think it's also important for us to do a number of blood tests. That's going to look for, probably look for infection markers, to see if there's an infection that's ongoing. I think we should also include some tests for something such as like HIV.
Oh, really?
I think it's something we've got to consider. Would that be alright with you, sir?
I suppose, yeah. Let's do what we've got to do.
But we will also look for things such as your thyroid function, giving you sweats and things, because some of these slightly vague symptoms can have a number of different causes. So we'll send off lots of blood tests. We'll get those images. I will have a chat with my consultant just to make sure there's nothing extra they think we should add in.
Okay.
But it'd be brilliant to see you back here in 2 to 3 weeks, where we can hopefully have all the results back and we can then take the next step forward.
Okay, then. Great stuff.
Do you have any other questions for me this time?
Can't think, no. Nothing now.
Okay, if anything comes to mind, please write it down and you can bring it with you when you come back.
Alright, okay.
Does that sound alright?
Fine. Good.
Alright, take care, sir.
Thanks very much.